they're dominating the gaming industry now.
Solar industry.
Electric cars.
Yeah.
Gaming industry. That's how this all started.
Right.
BYD is making such strides internationally. It's really scary. We don't see them in the United States because of the tariffs, thank goodness. But like, you know, they've already pushing Tesla out of China. Tesla's dumb for having ever gone there in the first place. There was a story in Brazil where like the land bought by BYD and their contractor to like, you know, to build BYDs in Brazil is like now using human trafficking.
Oh, good.
Because they're not only exporting their like knockoff technology, they're also exporting their human rights abuses.
Which is what they want to do all over the world, the China model.
Right.
Yeah, it's so that there are essentially Chinese workers being like imported into Brazil, right?
Right.
Well,
anywhere, and Brazil's not even technically part of the Belt and Road, but for all these countries that do these deals with China, whether it's technically or not part of the Belt and Road initiative, the China doesn't just like come and give jobs to locals. They're always bringing their own people to do some of these jobs
because they're desperate for jobs too.
Right. And they're always exporting their like environmental impact. And like you saw when you were in Prato, Italy, Shelley, they also exported their like prostitution and their gambling.
Yeah, that was really pretty sick to see these flyers on the street about advertising, you know, fresh off the boat, young Chinese girls.
That really makes it sound like just meat.
Yeah, I mean, literally,
yeah.
it was like in Chinese, it was kind of like, you know, newly arrived, like, you know, young, you know, yeah. It's really
it's sick, and it happens everywhere that basically Chinese companies come and set up shop with that local government's blessing. It's not just like cheap, you know, plastic dishware or whatever coming out of China that we're buying in the United States. It's like the whole system is getting exported.
Just on a quick note, I saw a funny meme. They're like, I guess like some Temu storage facility caught fire. So there's a picture of it, you know, the building on fire, Temu on the side, and like somebody captioned it. There was $59 worth of damage.
where was this storage facility?
I don't know. All I have is the meme.
Okay. It's so, you know, I was thinking this is kind of dark, but you know, we were talking earlier about the new prisons being built inside China.
Actually, we didn't talk about that. That's just on the list.
I know, no, like before the podcast.
Oh,
I know we
okay.
haven't talked about it yet because in the beginning we said, "Are we going to talk about Marvel or are we going to talk about the prisons?"
And that went off on
first.
a big tangent.
Yeah, but so this CNN did this whole CNN did this whole.
Hold on, my coffee is still warm. I want you to know that.
Good, my cold water is almost done.
All right, now continue, Shelley.
Can I have a look at that coffee cup, Matt?
No. No. Because as an authoritarian, I fear you. I fear everyone else. So
you don't want me to admire your coffee mug?
I can't trust anybody because now that I've taken more stuff than everybody else.
This really has been, this mug has been the best symbol of what happens under communism.
I just want to see the mug. I'm not going to spill it on the floor.
See the mug? All right. Good. You've seen the mug.
Anyway, what was I saying?
About detention centers being built.
Right. So
for people like you.
Anyway, I was thinking, not in specifically about these new detention centers, but I was thinking about how essentially if you dismantled the prison system in China, Temu would probably go out of business.
Yeah.
Like there would be so many Chinese factories that wouldn't be able to produce the cheap stuff because they actually subcontract to prisons.
It's often several layers of subcontracting, but
Yeah.
yes, the prisons. Yeah, there was that one guy that we met many years ago who was a Chinese American who ended up going to China. He practiced Falun Gong. He got put in prison and he was forced to make these like Homer Simpson slippers. Do you remember this?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, this was like almost.
This was a long time ago.
Yeah.
I mean,
like
they've
15
been
years ago.
They've
Something
been,
maybe.
killing Falun Gong, torturing them for like 25 years or something now. But like that was kind of the first that I had heard of like the prison labor for export system.
There was some Financial Times article a few years ago about how peeled garlic from China was being peeled in prisons.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. That's,
Yes.
yeah.
Well, there was that documentary, Letter from Ma Sanjia, about it was another guy who was a Falun Gong, and he ended up in Ma Sanjia labor camp, right, which is one of the most notorious ones in China, and they were making Halloween decorations,
Oh, yeah.
and he smuggled a note in English inside one of the Halloween decoration kits, and it was found by some woman, like a American woman living in, I think, Washington State, something like that, and she opened up her Halloween decorations and found this note
Like,
from.
please help me. I'm in a labor camp.
Yeah, so it was basically that, and then it made the news, and it was all and.
Well, do you have another point about that?
No,
Well,
no.
that's what a lot of Temu stuff very likely is, right?
Well, hold on. I'm going to go down the point. I just want to see if Shelley finished her thought.
No, I mean, go ahead.
Okay. So, like a big part about this, we were talking about state control over the economy. Like, there's a reason why all of these things are being made in China. One, it's on the U.S. end giving stupid subsidies to China that, for instance, makes it cheaper to mail something from Shanghai to San Francisco than from L.A. to San Francisco.
Yeah, that's one of the things the Biden administration was supposed to be stopping, but I don't know if they did.
Yeah. As far as I know, it didn't happen.
They've got a few more days to stop it.
That's true. No. Oh, yeah, they do. They do. You're right. And then also just like the Chinese state subsidizing things so this can happen.
Well, I mean, the prisons are trying to make a profit.
Yeah.
You know, they're the whole prison system in China is also messed up in the sense that the prisons are incentivized to make money to support themselves. So it becomes like a prison industry. And I know some people will be like, oh, well, America has the same thing. It's not on the scale.
Right.
And so, you know, this is also where you have the organ harvesting comes in because the prisons and the hospitals work together to, you know, take
Make
prisoners.
money.
Like the
and, you know,
state forces the prisons to exist, right? Like that's the state mandate. But then the state mandate is pay for yourselves. So without any moral constraints, but the requirement that they exist and also self-sustain.
Well, and
they
the
have to figure
requirement
it
that
out.
they, what do they call it? Transform dissidents, right?
Right.
Quotas.
Yeah.
Same thing with 100 days, no births.
Yeah. So, I mean, just the experience of a Chinese prisoner is so awful. And if you've talked to people who've been in those prisons, which I think all of us have, like it's so awful on every level. The like 14-hour days of work, the food, the gruel, the fluorescent lights being on in your cell 24 hours a day, the lack of like
the torture.
The torture. I mean, more direct torture if you have an ideological problem, like you believe in Falun Gong or you believe in Islam or something. That's where they really need to torture that out of you.
Well, and this also kind of ties into the whole prison system thing that we're not probably going to really get into because we're short on time, but this new system called Liuzhi. Basically, it's an expansion of the party's internal discipline where party officials are taken and tortured, except now this is expanded to more people than just party officials. And one thing local governments are doing is they're nabbing up businessmen, accusing them of bribery, putting them in the system where they're tortured and a lot of all things. And all they have to... I'm talking, Matt, and you use that stupid mug to knock the microphone, sabotaging me at every step of the way.
It's still warm.
Good. So yeah, they accuse these businessmen of bribery basically to get them to pay them money and fees because the local governments are running out of money and they need to make money somehow.
So the new industry is capturing businessmen.
Yes. And
Yeah.
imagine taking money out of successful...
Oh, yeah.
Are you a curious person? Of course you are. We're now putting full interviews only on our new China Uncensored premium website, ChinaUncensored.tv. Your subscription helps support the show and gives you access to tons of amazing content. Click the link below to check it out.